Well, I have the power now.
Yes, you do.
Okay, so we're recording now. And I would like to invite us to come and be here now. Allow all of the iterations of you that have been left behind in the vibrations of the day. Bang, 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 bang.
Oh, boy, I tell you, this day vibrated like nobody's business.
Arriving in the here and now.
Mm-hmm.
For you as well?
Well, the thing is that we are just at the end of a rather significant snowstorm. I think we got about, we're not exactly sure because it was drifting snow. So when we went out on the back porch to measure it, we have slats on our deck, all decks have slats between the slats, whatever. And the snow was very high, and where the slats were, there were holes in the snow. It was very weird. So we were able to, we have a table that's right at the other side of the deck from the front door, from the back door. And it has a bar coming up from it where you can put an umbrella on it. And that bar from the table to the top of the bar is 12 inches. The complete top of the 12 inches was covered.
It's gone.
But we didn't know exactly how much more we got because they were saying that we were going to get between 12 and 18 inches of snow. So when Alex went outside, I had to shovel away. I had to get out the back door. I had to push it open a little bit and then get a shovel and shovel the stuff away from the door. And he managed to find a spot where he could put the measure thing down. And it was about 14 inches at that point, and it hadn't stopped snowing. So
has it stopped now?
I think so, because I have someone who shovels us out. He shoveled 8 times, actually 9, because I asked him to come back and just shovel off our walkway, which had gotten covered again, underneath our overhang of all places. But he said it wasn't snowing anymore. Because at about 5 o'clock this evening, it was supposed to stop at 4. At about 5 o'clock this evening, maybe 5:30, I went out to put the garbage out and check the mail. And I couldn't see the snow, but I could feel it coming down.
Like angel kisses.
Well, I don't know about that. It was very cold. It was so cold. So, it's real interesting because in a couple of years, we really haven't had this significant type of storm. We've had, I think, maybe 3 years ago. Oh,
Hamina. Hello, love.
Hello, loves. How are you?
Oh, we're
very
good.
Well done.
We're just talking about the snowstorm here for a second. I think back in about maybe 3 years ago or something, they started talking about this bombogenesis type of snowstorm, which here on the Northeast, we always have had what they call nor'easters.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, this bombogenesis type storm was bigger and worse. Ooh. And it came up the coast off land, and then it hit land up here. And so we had some significant, like 3 years ago or so.
When you say off land and then it came on, you mean
in
offshore?
other words, it came up the Atlantic. The storm was coming up in the ocean. And then when it hit, the thing is that the United States in the Northeast goes out from New York. When you hit New York, the land mass goes out. New England goes out east. So you've got all these states that are in New England, and so Boston is the very furthest east, and that's where it hits, and then it comes back in this way. But it'll also sometimes just come up when it hits the city, instead of going out into the Atlantic, out that way. It actually hits New York and then keeps coming up from the city, which is exactly where we are. Exactly. So it comes up
That is
right into
scary.
it really, because they're always coming up with these bigger and worse storms. And well, this storm was pretty significant. I don't think that, I don't know if anyone in New York, all of New York apparently was involved, from the west to the east, because my friend in Illinois, I spoke with her today, and she said, yeah, you were all over the news. I'm like, what? And we knew we were getting it, but I thought it was just going to be in the Hudson Valley. No, apparently it wasn't. And we got a lot of inches. And so thankfully, Silvio, who lives across the street,
14 inches, Jimena. 14 inches of snow.
And that's not probably the most that was in this region, because we have mountains all around us. We're in a valley. And because of the mountains, they usually get more, up in the mountains. So they might have gotten 18 or more inches. I'll find out tomorrow, because the people who deliver our water are up in the mountains. So I'm going to call tomorrow and see if I can get a delivery on Thursday.
Wow.
Yeah. Just what I was thinking. Wow. As the weather becomes more and more problematic, we are going to be challenged more and more. Yeah. And we cannot depend on the trucks and the planes to bring us the food we need.
No. Even the trains can't get through on certain times of very, very heavy snow.
There is no choice. From my perspective, and perhaps from yours too, if we don't set up places to grow our food in our communities, we're stuck.
And I even thought about the fact that our heart gardens we would still keep growing and doing our daily things. I don't know how our heart, and this might be something very important to consider. If our heart gardens was in an area that lost power, how would our heart gardens create light and power for itself?
Good point, Joan. I'll tell you what has come up in the field is the facility that was covered in the movie The Need to Grow. And that's the green power machine that was burned down by who knows who, and was rebuilt. And that was the good news in that movie. But the facility that they're suggesting would provide fuel, fertilizer, and food, and heat.
So the fuel, where would the fuel be? What kind of fuel would it be?
I believe it's biogas that it would do.
Oh, really?
I think so, and I'm not sure. I really want to get in touch with them and talk with them about this idea. But that being said, they're not the only ones that have an idea of how to create something like this. Um, uh, Ubuntu is another one. They have a city in Canada, I believe it's in Quebec, one small town, I think is what they call it. And they have this process that they go through with the mayor talking to the people of the city in order to promote the communalization of businesses that would create food and electricity and other things. And I was very interested in reading their prospectus or invitation. I felt resistance to it because of the investors getting a third of the profits. And a third would go to the city for the infrastructure and whatnot. And a third would go to the people who gave what was listed as like 4 hours a week into the communal activities. I'm interested in finding out what the experience of that town has been and whether it could be scaled down from a town to a community.
Sure, why not?
And how they create power is, it wasn't in what I read, and I don't know what method they're using. So maybe it's something similar to what Michael Smith has with the green machine.
Which is like solar power, that kind of stuff.
No, this is based on the growth of algae and decomposition of algae. And so algae is actually the driver of that whole system, and how to take it from the seeding of it, the growing of it through the whole cycle and bringing it back down to the full cycle.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, closed systems. If we can find ways of using closed systems that aren't as large as the Earth, it would help us learn to deal with the issues that we are faced with, I think. So yeah, there are, like I keep saying in the ChatAction group and Chat People after Humanity Rising, you know, these things are popping up in the field. And it's a question, I believe, of communication and following the advice of the leaders who have worked their entire lives in order to create these marvelous inventions, and not expect them to have to monetize them or to promote them. I mean, that's not what they are designed for. It's like, I'm not a promoter. That's why I've got two of you here. I'm not a promoter. I don't know how to do that. I'm okay with that. As long
You're
as
a promoter of a different type.
I'm a different type of promoter.
Yes.
I'm not tech savvy.
Right, but
I
that's the whole
struggle with that.
But you are a promoter from a different point of view. You're a promoter of Gaia and our heart garden. That's your.
I was hardwired for co-creation. I was not created to be able to do it all. And
No.
I have to be okay with that.
And there's people who have specialties. I mean, there are times when the word specialty gets on my nerves, especially when it comes to medicine. Poor Alex, but uh, we all have specialties. You know, we all
Passions.
passion, passions. Yes.
Well, that's how we're designed, and the world of before has never allowed the passions
Right.
to drive us to and so the things that we're passionate about are always truncated by life and not being able to do what's necessary. So we're finding ways forward, but you know, it's so important in this now world to follow your passions, to follow where your heart takes us,
Yeah.
because it is through the we are a hollow reed that the weaving is done.
Mhm.
And it is done outside of
All of the rest of it.
the reality that we share. It's by the spirit that flows through us in some form or another. And I don't know how that happens, but that's okay. You
We're
know,
not supposed to. We're the sparks that come out.
well
I,
said.
I believe in the social theory that some of them are collectors and others are hunters.
Mhm.
So we have a different energy. And I think that the ones that sell and that fight and compete I'm not saying that this is wrong, but they have a hunter energy. And we, the collectors, have a different energy. So we see different perspectives, and we have like a whole complete different mindset of how to visualize, how we organize, how we want the humanity to be. And coming to a common point and a common ground is what we need to do. But everyone needs to be in charge of whatever they want to be in charge. And I think promoting is also like, it's a synonym of sell, right? Go sell and go promote, go tell the world about this, about the existence of something. And these people had other tempers and other personalities because they needed to leave their homes, they needed not to eat sometimes, right? They needed like to accept the weather conditions somehow also and fight against them or adapt. And I am very aware that um you need like all kinds of people, right? Because you cannot tell the other ones, oh, you need to be like me, because that is
Right.
completely wrong. But at the same time, you need to respect yourself and the energy you are coming from, because that's who you are. So in order to be loyal and to love you, you need to accept that. So it's beautiful that you say, I'm not a promoter. It's just beautiful. I saw my family competing always, and I was like, I'm not competing. I was an Olympic gymnastics. I was starting in competitions and everything. And I remember this girl fell in a competition and hit his chin and opened it like completely. And then my trainer told me, you have a great opportunity to win. And I said, I don't want to compete. Like, this is not fair. She just hurt herself. She was like, what? What are you talking about? You need to compete. I was like, no, oblige me. Like, you cannot make me do anything that I'm not going to do, you know?
No.
Mhm.
So, yeah, so I started doing sports that was competing against me, right? Against my physical strength, my qualities, my flexibility, because I wasn't capable of going and hit someone for having a ball and scoring a goal, you know? or I don't know. I understand this, and it was hard because all my family was soccer players and they were like crazy about winning, and my brother was fighting all the time with the referees. But yeah, I understand that there is this energy that we need to respect and be loyal to it.
Mm, that's true. That's true.
Yeah. I appreciate the hunters and collectors and promoters and, you know, the different roles that we play in life. We are differently designed.
Yes.
It is the diversity that gives us strength. If everybody's a farmer, um, maybe that'd be more fun. No. I think Gaia would be happier. But we have been designed differently in order to um, uh, um, go through the cycle of life. And there are so many cycles that are going on, and we need to become aware of the cycles that we're involved in. Um, this brings to mind a situation that I had that was difficult. When I travel, sometimes I wind up in situations that are not as graceful and beautiful as I dearly want every situation to be. And what happened in this case was I came into a small kind of a retreat, and there were some grandmothers there who had gardens, and there weren't that many people. And what happened was we had a woman come and join us who had just left her significant other on a piece of land that they had built some cob houses, or were in the process of creating another resort where people would learn and be a part of a small intentional community. And she had left him, and she was kind of broken. And so what I did, because I was a visitor there, hello, Daily Planet. And I'm not ignoring you, my darling. I'm in the middle of a story and I'm glad you're here. And so what I did was, because I was new there, I wasn't part of um, the regular routine of maintaining the place. So they didn't, quote, need me to help out. At least that was my assumption. And so what I did was respond to the needs that I saw, which was to help this young woman deal with what was going on, get her mind off of the heartbreak and allow that to heal and to settle while her mind was engaged, while her body was engaged, doing other things. And so we went up the mountain and we got some cryolite rocks for around the new yurt that was going to be used as a temple. And so we were engaged in doing things, and this was very, very exciting. And the funny thing, it was my birthday when this all came to a crescendo. And so my birthday, uh, the gift I was given that day was to have the most eloquent woman tear a strip off me about not contributing and being part of, and what my response to her was what I told you, is that I'm somebody new here. You don't need me. She needed me and I could help her. I was following my heart to see how I could best affect this environment. I did what was called for based on who I am. And this woman, this lovely woman, she backed down. And she said, I understand now what you're talking about. I do believe in what you're saying, that people need to follow their passions and to act from their heart. And she apologized to me, and I think that was an amazing gift. It's a story now that I carry with me. This is what I believe. If we follow our hearts, not thinking about what we gain and the power that we hold and the things that we can have, if we follow our hearts and what we have been designed for, we can allow the more beautiful world to erupt through our actions in the world. And it doesn't always look like what we expect. Sometimes it looks like cleaning a stove, and sometimes it looks like, harvesting cryolite from a mother lode of spirit rocks. And that was that's an amazing experience. And she and I are still friends. So it all turned out well, but it was certainly, I had reinforced in me how to take criticism.
Very good.
Criticism is a hard thing to
It depends on how it's given, and it shouldn't be given aggressively.
yeah. Thank you, Jimena. That was a rough situation. I'm happy to share it, because what we, these lessons, if we can share the lessons that we personally have learned, then perhaps others don't have to learn in such vivid ways. Yeah. And so that's my story. I'm sticking to it. Who's next?
Very good. I just thought of one thing as you were speaking, and as Jimena was speaking, about the idea of yin and yang. You need both. They really can't exist without each other. There's an opposite side. If that could be harmonious, and in a sense, I did that once. I think, Shannon, did I tell you about this? I'm not sure. Back in the 90s, I went on a retreat to a place called Women's Circles. And one of the things that I learned there was, I just totally lost my train of thought.
You went to Women's Circle.
I know, but it would have something to do with yin and yang or something or other that brought me there. So if it comes back to me, I'll get back into it. But that happens to me a lot. My mind just sort of like goes to sleep. Yeah.
A beautiful dreamer.
I hope.
So you kind of forget what you were to say?
I have a problem, probably I'm 70 years old, so a lot of times I forget things that I used to be able to remember easily. You know, I get a thought and I'm going to say something, and then for a second I might start talking about it, but it just takes me away from that thought for a second, and it's gone. But it comes back at some point.
I like to
Yeah.
I like to
Be,
say that the train of thought got derailed.
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
be patient and loveful with that because
Oh, I accept it for what it is. It's
yeah,
okay. I always kind of look at it like when I hear things that I've known before, it's like just finding them for the first time again. So,
exactly. They also say that you're more wise if you don't talk than you talk. So maybe you're going to this phase that you need to listen and be
probably.
demonstrate that you are that wise.
I'd like to, that's a nice thing to think. It is. Thank
Well,
you.
I think Joan is very wise. She's always been very wise around me, and I appreciate
Yeah.
that in
Thank
her.
you. Thank you.
Talking about wisdom, my mom and I saw each other today.
Oh,
That's
Yeah,
beautiful.
well, I got some mail at her place, and so I had to drop over and say hi. And you know, this is such a difficult time for old people. And
Mhm.
I'm not including you, Joan, in that. And yet it's hard for you too. But the ones that I'm talking about specifically right now are the ones in seniors' homes.
right. Yeah, well,
Mom,
I know.
yeah, mom is in a seniors community. She has her own condo, but
Okay.
she shares, the dining room downstairs. There's a great room with a great big fireplace. And when I arrived there back around my birthday last year, I think, um, I basically moved last year before. Oh God, my poor mom. I moved in with her, and then COVID happened just after I moved out. And so when I moved out, I moved into a place that was, I was house sitting, and he came home. And so there I was, homeless. And mom said, well, come and stay in my office on my fold out sofa. And so I did. And I was in her office for 9 or 10 months. And she made room in her life for me.
Hmm.
And that gave me an experience of being in a community of seniors in a COVID situation, and to see the different ways of dealing with the lockdown from different perspectives in that place. And there's people who are assisted to be able to stay there, and they have small rooms and they get their laundry done. So it's assisted living. And the people in the condos are not assisted living. They have their own places. It's just an over 55, it's over 75 mostly. um, but what I experienced today was they are locked in as tight as a prison. Um, they're they are meeting again in the dining room for dinner, but there's single people sitting at tables for two. Um, half or they're using double the amount of space than they were given before. Everybody's wearing masks and physically distancing as well, not just wearing the masks, but everybody's afraid of everybody else. There's a security guard at the front door. There big signs about we're doing this for your benefit. And I remember when I was there at one time it was like every day they would beat their pots and pans saying thank you to the care workers and to the staff. And that's not happening anymore. And not even once a week. It was every Friday there for a while. And, you know, at least that gave something to the workers who are giving so much of themselves, they dedicated their lives to this action in any case, but now it doesn't look anything like what they signed up for. And it tears my heart out to see Mom, not as vibrant and tasting on the face, because she's one of the village builders.
Mhm.
She was my inspiration. She was one of who created the network of fashion show directors when I was 10 to 14. She was selling jewelry in at-home parties, and she had a network of people under her that she trained and kept in touch with every week to help them stay positive. Being in sales, being in sales, you get 9 no's before you get 1 yes or more, and so I learned from her, and to see her now, I am still learning from her. And the things I'm learning now are not as comfortable.
No,
Yeah.
they're not.
Bless your mom.
She's been writing a newsletter for her seniors community for 9 years, since she moved in, and she was one of the first to move in the building. She was a retired realtor, and she knows what is necessary in a community to help build the invisible structures that are present in successful communities. Things like communication. The newsletter was her way of keeping her fingers in the not control, but her fingers on the pulse, and to be able to encourage people. There's an awful lot of despair in old folks' homes.
Oh, you make me remember of something.
What?
That's
you
why
share?
I was crying, because it's so hard. We need to do so many things as society. It's very hard. When I was 9 years old, I had everything. I had a nice home, I had toys, I had my parents taking care of me. And somehow I decided that that wasn't enough. So I get with some friends and we decided to do a group of singers. And we went to the orphanage and to the asylums of old people.
Hmm.
And those have been like quite an experiences, you know, like that built me the way I am. And I understood so many things since I was very little, because I went to this asylum. We were like 9 years old or 10. I remember it was my birthday. It was one day before Christmas. So I decided to go there with my friends, and we had a manager, like this manager, like he was setting us choreographies, and
Oh, nice.
he didn't want us to record anything, but just like guiding us to where we can go and taking care of us. He was very young. He was like 20 something. And he was the one that got like these agreements with the adults, right? Because we were kids. And we went to this asylum, and someone had died just that day. So they were very, very sad. They didn't want to get out of their rooms, and there was like this celebration already prepared for them, because we were going to sing to them, and we were um we had gifts for them and many things, but they didn't want to go. And I remember Ricardo told us, be respectful, be very lovely, and go and knock the doors of them and tell them that you are here to give them hope and love and to share a beautiful moment with them. So yeah, there we went. I remember I knocked the door, and this beautiful old lady opened to me, and she said, mm, she was my best friend. So I was so heartbroken. I said, I understand. I really understand. But I want to be your friend today. So I said, can you come out and play as when you were little? Like, to enjoy a little bit of this time, because I know I know that maybe you don't have a family to come to visit you. She said, okay, we'll see. And we started singing, like the microphones were there, everything was already there. Oh my God, like everybody went out of the room and joined us, and it was so beautiful. So beautiful. And
Thank you, my darling girl.
I understand that it's very hard to grow old without anyone beside you.
Yeah.
Maybe I went through that in another life, or I don't know, but it really hurts my heart.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I understand, my love. Thank you for sharing.
I give you a hug.
Yeah.
Mm, we
That's
need
what
to do so much, so much.
that's what we do here.
Yeah,
When you hug you, you hug me.
that's right.
Me
Well,
is an acronym for Mother Earth.
Mm-hmm.
It's also me.
yeah, people are just thinking about money and what to get in exchange. And I just don't understand this world.
No. But that's why you're here, darling. You're going to upset your puppy. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you. What you say is so much a part of the reason for our heart gardens,
Mm-hmm.
so that we can share our pain and our joy and our youth and our elders and the wisdom and the education and share life with each other. I am sure you gave them pleasure that day, and they really needed it.
Yeah, they were so happy, Shannon. They were so happy, Joan. We sang this song that was "Come to my house this Christmas," and it says like, "I know you're lonely. I know you need love. I know." And they were singing with us, and they were just so happy. And I said to myself, I want to do this all my life. Like, that's what I came to do. I don't care about having richness or, and it's been very hard because my father hasn't understand this and judged me a lot, you know, like I have so many qualities. I have 3 careers. I have an incredible talent when interpreting, but somehow he doesn't understand how I was built, and I'm a collector, so I cannot be a hunter, you know. I'm not for sales, not for how they say Wall Street or something like that. Like, go fight for it, you know, like you can win everyone and you can have more money than you ever dreamed of.
And it really doesn't matter. Those are not the things that motivate you and me and Joan and so many. And this world is in transition from the old ways of our fathers to the new ways, and the new ways are being embodied in our youngsters. And the youngsters will learn from our elders if we let them.
Yeah.
But they are so segregated, you know. We think in the US, you know, they talk about the segregation, and down in Africa there was, you know, apartheid and all of, yes, that's bad stuff. But the same thing is happening to our elders, and our children are stuffed off in schools all by themselves, peers teaching peers instead of elders teaching the youngsters. You know, that what's wrong with this model? Well, it doesn't work.
Yes.
And
And we have lost a lot of respect for the wise men and the wise women.
yeah, they think they know it all. Wrong. I heard from my roommate, who is a teacher, that she has a young student in grade 5 who doesn't understand how to count by twos. 2, 4, 6, 8, doesn't understand odd and even numbers. In grade 5, how do you go back and put that foundation in underneath all of the things that she's put on top of that? There has to be a progression of knowledge, or the gaps they get deeper and bigger as you grow older, and trying to weave them together gets more difficult as you grow older. And so, you know, I am deeply grateful for my roommate's experience, because what she is bringing in is the education of the youth into, and she's also a Baha'i, a teacher of the Baha'i faith. And so this, from my way of thinking, is spirit working in mysterious ways to provide all the things that we need in chat, in the chat people We have people who are interfaith, and so we've got that aspect of it coming into my life. And it's like this wealth of perspectives allows the richness to be appreciated and brought into the field so that we can see from so many different ways, and to see that's jumping all over the place. The perspectives that are required in that are enabled by small circles, which is how I imagine the Our Heart Gardens idea will work best. Like, how are they managed? By small circles. How is the power of the people focused in the areas that it needs to be focused? Through small circles. How does the work get done? Through small circles. This is a way of life that Indigenous people have had all along, when they didn't have classrooms and they didn't have old folks' homes. This is a natural way of life. And we need to bring the natural ways back to enable us to thrive again. So bringing it back to the Our Heart Gardens idea and a thriving civilization. This is what we want. And the transition from now into that thriving, beautiful world that we imagine that we can have, this is the fun part. It is the part that we live in. And we're feeling our way through. And that is the actual real case. If we allow our hearts to lead us, and that is the lesson of this period of time, is how to reconnect with our heart so that we can hear the messages coming through from the other parts of us that we can't see and we have become disconnected from. And that is the biggest challenge, I believe, of our time. And it is bigger than climate change. Climate change is either going to happen or we're going to work on mitigating it. That's just that that's something for us to focus our energies on, but we cannot focus ourselves without listening inside. It is not something we do with our heads. It's something we do with our hearts. So that is, for me, it has been the focus of my life, was learning how to listen inside and to do the things that Spirit wanted me to do. And what I found out was, when I listened, the most amazing things happened. If I stopped making choices for what I wanted and instead said the things that I loved and what can I do to help in my prayers, that allowed the magic to flow. I hope that we can all learn that skill as we go forward. You feeling better, Shamina?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Joan, I am glad that you and Alex have managed to avoid that situation, the elders in wisdom warehouses.
Well, yeah, we're not social, I guess is a better way to put it. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because so many people are finding it so difficult during this time to stay home and Alex and I have spent 24 years together this year, really just being in the house and doing what we love to do with each other and then in our separate moments too. We don't feel like, oh, I can't stay in the house anymore. It's kind of a very pleasant thing, not having to be out where there's, and I grew up in New York City. So it was like such a noisy place and so many people. And, no matter where you went, it was just chaos. And we love being here, being able to do what we can and want and enjoying it and sharing moments that if we were part of, it's not even a generation, but part of the kind of people who have to be running here and there, hither and yon and whatever, and never see each other. I mean, that's difficult. I can't imagine people handle that very well. So we've been very lucky.
I would describe you as introverts.
I'm more extroverted than he is because I can be quite a chatter.
I know, I like it.
He's very well. He reads. He loves books. Just it's from the time he was where he learned to read, in school, and that was his life. Everything was about books, and his birthday has always, except for this year because of the pandemic, but his birthday has always been spent while we've been together going to Barnes and Noble, and he would buy books and books and books, and then we would go out and we would do a Starbucks. Well, he would, and because I don't do Starbucks, but and then we would go to eat somewhere, and then we would come home, and then the year begins for him on his birthday of reading all of the books that he bought, and by the end, by his next birthday, he's read them all. And
Ready for more.
absolutely. And this year, what he did basically, I said to him, go onto Barnes and Noble website and look for the books that you like, that you've always looked for, because he's very, very into physics and sciences and stuff like that. And so he loves that type of thing. And that's where he got his books from. And so I said, just buy them on your Kindle. Find the titles that sound interesting and just download it onto your Kindle. So that's what he does.
It's not the same, but it's an acceptable stand-in.
But to be truthful, and he actually divides his reading between, and has done this since he got a Kindle, between the Kindle and the physical books. He's I will, he's like, I'll read a page out of here and then I'll go over to the Kindle and I'll read whatever, however many pages equal a page. And a Kindle, it's very different. And so it's, for him, it's just a place where he loves being, and other things too. I mean, he sadly cannot do one thing that he would love to do the most, which is to see stars. He doesn't have the eyesight to do that. And so he watches shows on the television, about
Stars.
you know, whatever is going on. Carl Sagan is one of our favorite people, you know,
Oh,
and
Carl
we
Sagan.
raise a
Yeah.
glass to Carl. There's a song that they wrote about that, you know. Um, and so yeah, we're doing the things that we want to do. Music is such an important thing in my life that I spend so much time. If I'm watching something on television and I hear a song, it's like, okay, got to go find that song, put it in my playlist, and I have so many playlists. It's big, huge, but
Okay.
that's what I love. And I read,
Yeah.
and there are shows that I like to watch, you know, that he doesn't want to watch with me, and there are shows that he likes that I'm not that interested in. But we do have our show times together too, lunch and dinner. At lunch, we you know, watch one series, and at dinner we watch the other series. And today, being Groundhog Day, we're watching Groundhog
Dog
Day.
Day.
You know? And we do that every year. That is, we have we have what we call a wheel of movies and series that we watch every year at the same time. Like we watch The American President or Designated Survivor on President's Day, and we'll watch. He loves. He's so very fascinated with. Feels like he's been someone who was on the Titanic. So we watch the Titanic. We watch Sleepless in Seattle, and then this year we're going to watch for Valentine's Day, The Lake House, which the love stories in both of those are just awesome.
Yes.
So, yeah,
So he figures he was on the Titanic, huh?
that's what he feels. He feels that he was on the Titanic, and he also feels that he was in World War II.
Yeah.
You know, he was born at the end of World War II.
Yeah.
So that's where he feels that he was born.
Neat.
Yeah.
All of these different perspectives and beliefs, you know, the richness that is in the lives of the people that are behind the walls. I want to bring people out from behind their walls and offer children a cornucopia of experiences. Like my mom, she has these huge experiences, and she has taught me so much. But you know, she doesn't go to the same places that I do. And my granddaughter, she's not getting either one of us. But we're going to give her a book for her birthday, and
Beautiful.
Variopolis. And this is a special book for Mom and I, because my grandmother and I shared a series of books, The Flower Fairies. Well, this is a takeoff on the Flower Fairies. And there are some of the Flower Fairies, like this one right up here. That's a flower fairy. And you know, there's one down there. You know, and there, it's such a beautiful book, and it's a pop-up book.
Oh, that is so lovely.
So
the cover of it is just.
Oh yeah, this is just amazing. And the last page of the book.
Oh my gosh.
Beautiful.
Oh my gosh, that is gorgeous.
I think one of my aunts has this book.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah, you just remember, like Joan, my uncles, they are so happily married, and COVID hasn't affected them because they were like the greatest couple ever. They were always together watching series, just as you say, like listening to music.
uh-huh.
Maybe someone working in my my aunt is an art restoring, not
Ooh,
professionally, but she's asked by many people to do it because she's awesome, like finding the colors and the little
yeah.
pieces and whatever. So she does this with antiquities, and
Oh,
she
wow.
paints amazingly. So they are always together and
Exciting.
having fun. And she loves the furries. So you are both
Oh,
reminding
oh
me of
yeah.
her.
I,
I haven't seen
I,
her since the COVID started because they
yeah.
decided that.
This
Oh,
was the last of the Woodland Fairies
Mm.
calendars. They
oh,
don't make them anymore. So
Yeah.
I saved all of them. So this is
oh.
February, the February fairy
Oh,
for
my
this
aunt
month.
loves that. She's
Oh,
crazy about. She has
Yeah.
a lot of figures, and she has some of
Oh
that, like the
gosh,
furry
that's
flowers.
beautiful. Uh-huh.
that
And
flower, yeah.
I swear, Shannon and Joan, they move.
They
Okay,
move.
like they are just figures, but
Mm-hmm.
we have found them like in another place. Like she left them someplace, and they move. And we are crazy, like trying to understand. But she has this magic. She's very special with leprechauns
Oh
and
yeah.
everything and little animals. So yeah.
It,
Little
you know,
animal, little
I,
animals.
little
You have some
animals.
animals. Aw.
This is my
See,
little
you're reminding me of her.
Tatanka.
I'm crazy about seeing her, but we haven't seen each other because I was doing some things with friends and I was taking care of myself. But
Uh-huh.
she's kind of she and her husband are very aware of taking care of themselves, so they haven't seen
Hmm.
anyone. And
Yeah.
I need to be respectful with that because
Yeah.
they were building me like a room before we went into the COVID.
Oh,
Because I visit them like so often that they decided they love me like a daughter, so they decided like to make some room for me in their
lovely.
house. Yeah, not just for me, but for everyone that came to visit. But they say like, you're gonna have your own room.
Mm.
Oh, how
They are
nice.
amazing. I love
Lovely.
them so much.
Yeah, and I wonder how we're going to put our civilization back together again
Mm.
when this does lift its knee from our throat.
One
Um,
What
step
did
at a
you mean?
time.
What?
um,
Are
I'm
you sharing
looking.
something special?
I'm looking at the virus as
Ah, okay,
um,
okay. When this thing left our throat. Okay.
well. I think about George Floyd and his death that happened just at the beginning of the COVID, or shortly after COVID hit, and they are in my mind kind of um, equal in weight to being the catalysts that have thrust us into this unfamiliar situation that we are all sharing. This, the old normal, will never come back again.
Yes.
And the old normal was the problem. And so, how do we create a new normal? What do we want in the new normal?
It's an evolution.
It is an evolution. It's part of the spiral, and we
Hmm.
have to move through it in order to become what we want. But if we don't start now imagining what we do want, instead of being so all of our energy going into resisting what we don't want, we need to put our energy instead, I believe, into what we do want.
Yes.
And we cannot yet embrace each other in the future that we want, but we can create the structures that will hold us as we go forward. The structures start with communication and connections. And by imagining together the life that we do want. And everything that I want in my life includes everybody thriving on a beautiful, abundant, glorious world. This goal, one common goal, when we're all pointed in the same direction, we can stop looking and judging each other. Can stop looking and thinking, instead, we're focused on how we want to live in this world, share this world together.
Yes.
That's what I have been trying to provide in this place, here in Gaia's Zoom room, a place to focus our energies on what we do want and how to get there. This week, this week, okay, I have been involved with Humanity Rising's Chat People. And out of Chat People arose ChatAction. And ChatAction are here to make strides in the world, to make changes and see what we can create together. And one of the things that we are creating together is the Peace Lab and a 21-day peace challenge. And it's the day one has already gone up for the peace challenge that leads up to March 1st to 5th. And March 1st to 5th is a peace lab. And that's
You were telling me, yeah.
a combination of laboratory where we experiment with different ways and whatnot, and a labyrinth, which is where you walk a path to the center, discarding the things of the past that need to fall away, and walking back out from the center, you put on the things you want and you are reborn as you emerge from the labyrinth. And so it is a combination of the experimenting and the walking the path. And all of this concentrated on the subject of peace. Peace on earth. The peace that Mama Gaia told me years ago, that going forward, there shall be peace. Those words, I used to think of them as a promise that would never be true for me unless you all shared it too. What I have learned since then is another way of looking at that statement. And what it is everybody focusing ahead of what we want, going forward. If we're doing going forward, there shall be peace.
And what about people still being in the economic systems and these kind of things?
The way I look at it, Taimina, is that the corporate world is a necessary part of the one that we are. Imagine if the one that we are is a being,
Mhm.
it needs to have a digestive system and a way of distributing the resources. That is what I see the corporate system as being, the digestive system. But they are storing all the resources for a very small group of people instead of feeding the body of the one that we are. We need to change that system so that it serves us instead of chewing us up and spitting us out. And the rest of us need to take care of each other. And the people who go and work in those systems, in that digestive system, we need to provide those people with the food that they need in order to do that work, because that work is necessary in the body of the one that we are. If our stomachs ruled our bodies, we would not need a head and we would not progress as a species. Our heads provide us direction. They are sensory systems. They are the logic, the tools of duality that enable us to make choices. Our stomachs are the engines. Allowing the systems to work together is the work of the future that we are trying to build. Not trying to build, that is being built through us. If we had to do it with our little brains, we wouldn't have a hope. Instead, we are the extension of spirit that allows this work to be done. Allowing ourselves to be the hollow reeds that write the script that is the lifelines that we embody here on earth. We will allow the more beautiful world to form through our actions. And we're not alone in this. I mean, humanity. Humanity is not alone in this work. We are just the wetware. The power that flows through us, that wisdom, has more power than we can imagine. And I feel that this process that we're going through is the awakening of the one that we are to the fact that we are a body, a being of a different sort than we have ever imagined. Oh, maybe that's not quite true. They have imagined gods before, but they have never wrapped their little brains around the magnificence and magnitude of what God really is. I believe that we are the next stage in the life cycle of a God.
That's so beautiful.
I think so too.
Thank
I
you
love
for
the
these
words that
words.
come through. What?
Yeah, I knew you were channelizing and it was beautiful. And I bless your being and bless who you are, bless your experiences, your stories. Because you know what? I've also channeled information and somehow we don't give credit to ourselves, but we also need to give credit to ourselves because we are in the place we choose to be. And we could be in Timbuktu, you know, like doing businesses, or I don't know, in the chamber of commerce of any country, or I don't know, doing another activities, and we choose to be here. So it's also our credit to understand that choosing being a healer choosing being a guide, choosing being a channelizer,
Channeler.
a channeler, yeah, or whatever your heart tells you to. Like you could have had other options and you choose this one, so it makes you somehow honorable also for doing this.
Thank you. And yet I have to say, I was something else before.
Mhm.
And what I learned from that is that when you are stifled in your gift, when your gift is denied, when you are not allowed to use your gifts, you run the risk of mental illness. And
Yeah.
I think that that is the cause of the pandemic of mental illness that is out there. Not being able to use our gifts makes us crazy.
That's beautiful.
I imagine us being able to use our healing gifts to help the world heal. There are so many gifts. Each one of us who hears that call hears it differently, and it comes through us in different colors and in different forms. Allowing Spirit to guide us to where we're needed instead of trying to figure it out, always having to figure it out. The figuring it out takes so much out of you. How do you put enough money in your pocket to put gas in the car? How do you know which road to travel? There are ways of finding these things out, but our oracles and our seers are not seen as credible or valuable. And I feel in the world that I want to live in, there will not ever again be another Helen of Troy who has empires fall because of love for a woman, lust for a woman, because they would not believe her. They would not believe the messages that were coming through her.
She was like a piece.
She was a
was a
woman.
piece.
She was a woman. She was like you. She spoke truth, but
Mhm.
they didn't believe her. And so these ships fought against this city and both conflagration, and it was just a mess. Well, it's kind of been a mess throughout humanity since they stopped listening to the seers and the oracles. These days, we are using tools again.
Mhm.
The tarot cards and the angel cards, oracle cards, these are a sign that we are beginning to listen. And yet still, we are not given the honor that I feel is deserved because of the risks that we run. Um, there is such hope when you listen to the prophecies. We're past the worst of it, I'm sure. Makes you wonder how much worse it could be, but it has been worse before. But you know, this has been called the time of the sixth sun. This is when we rise. And so I tend to listen. The prophecies are quite clear. This is when we turn away from the dark side. And I want to be a part of how we focus together on the things that we want in our world.
Can I share something beautiful?
Please do.
In the event of MLK, Chief Phil brought his friend that is called Gerard, and he said that one of the Lakota prophecies is, if you haven't decided as a soul in 2012 when we changed of dimension and there was asked something from us to leave our past professions and people and stories and memories and even countries or places that had been holding us, that people was going to perish because you say perish to
Perish.
padecer, yeah,
Perish. Die.
and or they were going to have like a redemption because its way would be more difficult because they needed to understand that beforehand. And he said that just in 2016 was like the limit, okay, to start another career, to lead back friendships or whatever was holding you, friendship, loves, family, whatever was on your way. And Marco, Christopher, and I have discovered that we left our past professions just in 2016, like in the edge.
Wow.
And I have talked to many people, and it makes sense, you know, it really makes sense because we started like flourishing, like the sprouts that needed to get out of the earth. Like now we can see them, and they were there like a long time. So we can see who we really were meant to be somehow. And yeah, it's been quite of a ride because for me it's like being an interpreter, then being a healer, being an interpreter, being a healer, an interpreter, being a healer. Right now I'm doing the combination of both in interpreting spiritual clinics, which was my dream.
Good.
And conventions like this ones, like joining people together for the Amazon, for so many beautiful projects. But yeah, it's hard to understand, right? And it's hard for the others that are with you because they are like, oh, you're not doing anything for your life, you're just taking away from me energy. And
Well, you just don't listen to them,
yeah.
because what you're doing is taking care of yourself and as much of the path as you can.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're paving the path, girl.
And I think for all of the people that are on this path, they're really leading by example. And when you just be who you are and you go forward, and other people see when they think, I want to be like that person.
Yeah, isn't that beautiful? Yeah.
When I grow up, I want to be just like her.
Oh no, I want to be just like you, beautiful, pretty, wise women. I wish I had your wisdom. And
You
you're
do.
amazing.
Oh,
Do.
oh, you have your own, sweetheart. You have your own, and it is so beautiful.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I am honored by your friendship. Thank you
Oh, I
so
am
much.
honored also, honey. And I just wrote some things that you were saying.
Yeah.
And I'm writing this story of children, and it's so beautiful. I don't know. I got a dictation. I know my grandmother that did stories for little children
Oh,
was kind of dictating it to me. And every time I get to be with my kids, like the ones that are going through the cancer condition,
yeah.
I get like ideas, like somehow they jump out of the blue. And
Somehow, huh?
I know that this story could be like a Harry Potter for children and adults at the same time, to teaching them and to arrive to their hearts very, very, very deeply. Because I understand that these messages didn't came from me, they came from the source, and I just need to give them out. And I was going to ask you, and I will ask you before Joan, because I would feel so honored for you to be my co-author of the book, like do this
Oh,
together, because you have beautiful stories. So I think that we can do this together. I have already like somehow the skeleton, an idea,
mhm.
and I swear it's very beautiful. You're gonna like it so much. So we can get
Ooh,
together to write it. And I
that
think
sounds like
that with
fun.
your wisdom, and also John, if you want to share like something to be there, like I would be so happy to give you credits also.
Mhm.
Oh,
Thank you.
that's lovely. I look
Yeah.
forward to seeing what you've got.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's so beautiful. I got the idea from I just bought this tea diaper with a like it's like a scaphandra, like the one of Jacques Cousteau, like this suit when you went into the sea and
Oh,
you
yeah.
needed
When
to
you
leave
a
exploration.
diving suit.
A diving suit, yeah. In
Yeah.
Spanish we call it escafandra. So I bought that,
Cassandra.
and
Ooh, thank you.
I was dipping my tea, and it has the herbs in. I will show
Right.
you another time for not interrupting.
Yeah.
It has the herbs in, and you
Right.
dip it in water. I just
It's
got this idea of I just started like imagining. So the core of the story is that it's precise for what you were saying, is this guy that is old. Well, he's not old. He's an adult, okay, and he has this shadow that follows him, and is this big sea suit, and he doesn't understand why is it him with him. And he started seeing little children because he's like a professor. So he starts seeing little children, and he sees that the shadow that they have is coinciding. It is matching.
Hmm.
Okay. So for example, the one he starts asking everyone, "What do you want to be when you are grown up?" "Oh, I want to be a policeman." So the shadow is of a policeman.
oh,
"And I want to be a ballerina." The shadow is of a ballerina. So
Ooh.
he starts wondering why he doesn't have his
wow.
shadow, but he he's a teacher. He was supposed to be what he dreamed of, which was an explorer in the sea, like Jacques Cousteau, because he dreamed about it. He had read so many books and whatever. So yeah, so I talk about uh, what do you dream of, and what do you end up doing, and if you're happy or not with your life. And it's very it's it's a little bit more complex than that.
Oh, well, that's good. It sounds like
Yeah.
Yeah.
teaching people to listen to their dreams.
Mhm.
Exactly.
You know, there have been a lot of messages and guidances in my life that I didn't realize what they were as I was going through them. I barely paid attention to them. Um, I, I, I think part of it was the moving around and not having a grandmother to hear my stories. It's like
Mm.
John Young talks about needing to catch the stories of the children as they come in from school.
Yeah.
Yeah, reconnecting with the children by hearing their experience, where they've been, what they've done, what they've thought about.
Their
And
imagination is amazing because it's coming directly from the source. So they have no prejudices. Should I say this or should I don't say this? They just say it, and it is like so beautiful, so natural,
yeah,
naive.
naive and innocent. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like when I was about 14 or 15, I had to figure out a costume for Halloween. And I decided I would be a gypsy. And
Awesome.
All right.
it was a hard decision to make, but I went inside and, what am I going to be? And, oh, a gypsy. And gee, guess what?
There you
I
are.
was once a gypsy too before starting even to read tarot and everything. So I guess that's our beings calling us to play and to do whatever we were meant to be, because
Yeah, another one that I had was I had to figure out a science fair project. I did the
Mhm.
water cycle.
Wow.
How beautiful is that?
Yeah.
I mean, I look back on that and I think of the little girl that I was, and I'm charmed by the child that I was. How lovely that I had that, the loveliness of spirit. And no wonder I was my mom's favorite. Of course, she only had two, and the other one was a boy.
I need to be just a second. I have to take my medication and pass.
Oh yeah.
I'll be right back.
Oh, good to do.
Well, save your chair.
Okay. And then I have to go feed Alex too.
Oh,
know.
there is that.
Hang on a second.
Okay.
Send our love to him.
Ah, they are darling people, I tell you.
Oh, I love them.
Yeah.
It makes me remind my aunts. Really, I just love them. I'm crazy about seeing them anytime. They
Yeah.
say that maybe in February, if the red lights go to yellow or green, which is like we are expecting that so much. Because
Yellow
Shannon, a
lady.
lot of people is dying. It's like young people, old people, everyone,
Well,
children.
yeah. We've
I
got it.
understand that this is the abduction that somehow also the Bible was talking about, that it was going to happen, the abduction of souls.
Really.
But
Hmm.
I'm a human, so it's heartbroken. It's like yesterday the dad and the aunt of one of my best friends, two of my best friends died, and they are so heartbroken.
Yeah.
I'm just like praying for them, like
Of course you are.
praying. I was supposed to do today a session for praying, but nobody confirmed. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it like anyway, alone or.
Yeah.
Oh, this is my grandmother. Look.
There she is. Oh, she's lovely. Is that
Oh
you?
yeah,
Is that,
that's me when I was 25, 24.
oh, lovely. Isn't she beautiful?
Yes,
Yeah.
very.
Oh yeah,
And
I
so
love
are
her so
you.
much. She takes care of me still. And this was my group that I went to sing. Like these are events that we were somehow hired to sing and to
Oh.
pay our the things that we did, like buying food and gifts. And
Oh,
yeah, we
that's
went
lovely.
to a lot of orphanages, and then we are singing in a. This is
Oh,
like a
that was
mall.
when you were little, when you were 9.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
I'm this one.
I,
One in
I
pink.
thought so.
Yeah. Lovely. Oh,
Yeah.
good memories. Good memories.
Oh,
Yeah.
I have no regrets for anything that I have left. Like yesterday, I was talking with the guys and I said, you know, if I get COVID, I can leave this earth and I won't be regretting anything. You know, I have lived so happy and giving all my soul and my spirit. So I am so at ease with me and with everything. And they were like, what? I said, yeah, like that's how you're supposed to live, right? Like
I think so.
no regrets and one day at a time, but like it would be the last one because you never know.
And take the opportunities that speak to you.
Yes.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what they're there for.
Absolutely.
How could you live your dreams if you don't take the opportunities that call to you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That I am very happy that my grandmothers did a good job in that. They were like, follow your dreams, like who cares? Like if you have you have a ceiling and you have food and you are happy and you are doing and following your dream, like who cares? You know, you don't need anything else. You just need to be happy with what you're doing and that's it.
That's it. It's true.
Be happy and align with the people around you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I through the intentional communities that I've been through, I've noticed that there are a goodly number of people who don't know how to align. They don't know how
But
to.
as Joan said, we need to be the example, you know,
Yeah.
We do.
or tell them this story in order to recognize
And
what is in themselves.
and honestly, I didn't know how to be what was necessary. You know, I had to learn too. We all have to learn.
Well, that's part of coming into life. We don't know, but we grow and we learn.
Yeah.
And it happens
Yes.
spontaneously.
Spontaneously. Oh, I love that word.
Yeah.
I must admit I am a spontaneous kind of girl.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I
I think
love
I'm
that.
pretty much there too.
Sorry,
Talking
Jamila?
about spontaneous, I just saw an amazing picture. I need to share it.
Oh, look at you.
Oh my God, you're being eaten by a shark.
I was
Oh,
always
my.
doing faces.
You made people laugh.
Yeah, I guess that I was born to also like to make people laugh. They really don't understand why I am so happy all the time, but it's not a mechanism. It's like I'm just like this,
Just
you know?
That you're just
naturally that way.
happy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I try to be.
I remember when I was in the hospital for the breakdown, there was a woman in the ward who had been committed by her husband because she was too happy.
Mm.
Yeah.
My father's mother told my mother she laughed too much. I'm like,
Look, we need to change this in people, you know, like we need to explain them that
yeah,
there's a place in our hearts that we are happy and
yeah,
they need to just understand this. Like, I don't believe in happycracia, that you need to be happy always and for everything. No, of course not. I
It's not.
wouldn't be a thanatologist because I wouldn't be able to be empathic with people at the extent that I am empathic. But I think that there is also something that you gotta go deep inside of you and understand in order to be as happy and comprehend, because otherwise you would have people telling you all the time like, why are you happy?
Because I am.
It just
I'm
comes
a happy person.
naturally. Yeah.
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 And we say, you should try it too.
Exactly. Yeah. Like you
Best
want a drug,
advice.
this one is the best.
Exactly. There's
You want to
nothing
get
better than
high?
laughter.
Yeah.
Laughter and is one of the best medicines ever.
Well, I have known that many people recovered from their dwellings and
Hmm.
from many things when doing comedy and doing
Yeah.
stand-ups
Yeah.
and laughing about what they had been through, like just making
Yeah.
it switching the energy to an energy of acceptance and more
Yeah.
than acceptance. Like I'm gonna laugh about it. Like
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
yes, it's a beautiful medicine.
It is
Very healing.
very much so.
Yeah,
Mm.
Well,
I'm
I
so
must
happy.
go and
And actually, I would like to take this opportunity, Joan, to close Gaia's
yes.
Zoom room. This has been such a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining me.
Oh, it's been
Thank
a
you,
pleasure
Shannon,
here.
Joan, and universe, and God,
Ah,
all our ancestors.
Yes. 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 Hugs for everybody. Hugs for everybody.
hugs for everybody. And if you close your eyes,
Mm.
you will feel you are being hugged.
Mm.
And if you put your awareness into your arms, you will feel you are hugging Great Mother Earth embodied in you
Mm.
and me. I love you.
I
Thank you
love you
for
both.
being. Thank you for being a part of
Love
me.
you. Bye.
Everybody, happy sleeping. Be
Yeah, sweet
well. Be
dreams.
safe.
Bye.
See you soon.
Bye.